James Byron Dean was born on February 8, 1931, in Marion, Indiana, to Winton Dean and Mildred Wilson Dean. His father worked as a dental technician. When James was 6, the family moved to Santa Monica, California. Tragically, his mother died of cancer when he was just 9 years old, a loss that deeply affected him throughout his life. After his mother's death, James was sent back to Indiana to live with his aunt and uncle on a farm in Fairmount, where he was raised in a Quaker household. Despite being an outsider in a rural community, Dean excelled in school and developed a passion for acting, sports, and motor racing. He graduated from Fairmount High School in 1949 and returned to California to live with his father and stepmother. He briefly studied pre-law at Santa Monica College, then transferred to UCLA, where he switched his major to drama. His raw talent caught attention early. He landed a role in a production of Macbeth and dropped out of college to pursue acting full-time. Early acting career. Dean's early career involved working as a parking attendant while auditioning for roles. He landed small parts in television shows like Kraft Television Theater, Studio One, and General Electric Theater. His first film role was an uncredited part in Fixed Bayonets. 1951. Frustrated with minor roles, Dean moved to New York City and studied under Lee Strasberg at the Actors Studio, the home of method acting. There, he rubbed shoulders with future legends like Marlon Brando and Paul Newman. Dean immersed himself in the emotionally intense style of acting that would define his career. In 1954, Dean starred in Broadway's The Immoralist, gaining critical attention and catching the eye of Hollywood. Hollywood stardom. Dean's film career lasted only 16 months, but it changed American cinema forever. He starred in only 3 major films, all released between 1955 and 1956, but each one cemented his place in film history. 1. East of Eden, 1955. Dean's breakout role came as Cal Trask in East of Eden, based on the novel by John Steinbeck. Directed by Elia Kazan, the film tells the story of a troubled young man competing for his father's love. Dean brought emotional vulnerability and raw intensity to the character, earning him an Academy Award nomination for Best Actor, posthumously. 2. Rebel Without a Cause, 1955. In what became his most iconic role, Dean played Jim Stark, a misunderstood teenager struggling with identity, alienation, and family dysfunction. Directed by Nicholas Ray, Rebel Without a Cause struck a nerve with American youth. Dean, in his red jacket and anguished expressions, embodied the spirit of the 1950s adolescent rebellion. The film made him a cultural icon virtually overnight. 3. Giant, 1956. Dean's final film, Giant, was a sweeping epic about class and racial divisions in Texas. Starring opposite Elizabeth Taylor and Rock Hudson, Dean played Jet Rink, a poor ranch hand who becomes an oil tycoon. His performance showcased his range, from youthful awkwardness to aging bitterness. He was once again nominated for an Academy Award for Best Actor, making him the first actor to receive 2 posthumous Oscar nominations. Off-screen persona and passion for speed. Dean was known for his brooding personality, deep intellect, and quiet charisma. He was introspective, moody, and known to keep journals and read philosophy. He idolized Marlon Brando and shared his flair for motorcycles and jazz. But Dean had another obsession: speed. He was a passionate auto racing enthusiast and often participated in amateur races. He owned several sports cars, including a Porsche 356 and a Porsche 550 Spider, which he nicknamed Little Bastard. Though Warner Brothers had prohibited him from racing during the filming of Giant, Dean returned to racing as soon as the movie wrapped. Tragic death. On September 30, 1955, just weeks before the release of Rebel Without a Cause, Dean was driving his Porsche 550 Spider to a race in Salinas, California. With him was his mechanic, Rolf Wutherich. At approximately 5:45 p.m., near Chalem, California, Dean's car collided with a Ford sedan at an intersection. James Dean was pronounced dead on arrival at the hospital. He was just 24 years old. The crash became legendary, and speculation surrounded the so-called curse of the Little Bastard, as several others connected to the car suffered strange accidents or deaths. Dean's sudden passing devastated fans, and it seemed especially cruel that someone so young and talented was taken at the peak of his rise. Posthumous fame and cultural impact. In death, James Dean became a mythical figure, immortalized as the quintessential rebel. His premature passing only added to his mystique. The American public had just begun to discover him, and suddenly he was gone. Dean was the first actor to receive a posthumous Oscar nomination and remains one of only a few to receive two. His 3 films became instant classics, and his image, introspective, cigarette dangling, collar turned up, became symbolic of youthful defiance and emotional depth. His influence rippled across generations of actors, from Al Pacino and James Franco to Leonardo DiCaprio, all of whom cite him as a major inspiration. He also impacted fashion, music, and pop culture. Bob Dylan, David Bowie, and Elvis Presley all spoke of Dean as an icon who broke the mold. Legacy. Though his filmography was brief, James Dean's legacy is enormous. In 1999, the American Film Institute ranked him as the 18th greatest male movie star of all time. His grave in Fairmount, Indiana, remains a pilgrimage site for fans, and his memorabilia is highly sought after. His life has been dramatized in documentaries, TV shows, and films, including the 2001 biopic James Dean starring James Franco. His name still resonates, not just for his acting but for what he represented, a generation's search for identity, authenticity, and rebellion. Famous quotes. One of his most quoted lines is, "Dream as if you'll live forever. Live as if you'll die today." That sentiment, restless, bold, and fleeting, defined how he lived and how the world remembers him. Conclusion. James Dean lived fast, acted with passion, and died young, but in doing so, he became immortal. More than just a film star, he became a symbol of rebellion, artistic integrity, and youthful angst. Though he was with us for only a short time, the echo of his voice, the intensity of his gaze, and the truth in his performances continue to inspire, reminding us all of the power of living authentically, even if only for a moment.